She was whispering to herself, running her fingers along the tiles, occasionally laughing, softly. 7. She welcomed us. She laughed when we landed. She fed us. Now we feast. She opened the door. She let her hair down. She gave without asking. She is ours now. This is a story my mother told me when I was old enough to understand what true fear feels like. I wasn't even born when it happened, still in her womb, but the way she tells it, you'd think she relives it every time. Her voice shakes, her eyes won't meet yours. She always starts the same way. Never feed what watches in silence. It happened in the summer of 1998. My mother's best friend Tanya was living in her family home, a modest house with white walls and a giant tree that towered over the backyard. The tree was ancient, twisted, gnarled in ways that didn't look natural. It was home to dozens of crows, huge, loud, restless creatures that squawked from morning until dusk. Most people found them disturbing. Tanya didn't. She called them her watchers. Tanya was beautiful in a quiet way, soft-spoken, warm, the kind of person who made you feel safe. Her most striking feature was her long black hair. She always wore it down, and it swayed like silk when she walked. Every afternoon, she would sit by her bedroom window to eat lunch. It became her routine, same spot, same time, same plate of food. And every time, a crow would land on her windowsill and stare at her, never blinking, never cawing, just watching. One day, she offered it a piece of bread. It took it and flew off. The next day, it returned with 3 more. And just like that, it became a daily ritual. Tanya would feed them scraps, rice, lentils, whatever she had, and they'd gather like an audience in black. Her family teased her about it, except for her grandmother, who once warned, "Never feed what doesn't blink. Never trust black eyes." But Tanya smiled and kept feeding them anyway. Then came the night everything changed. It was unbearably hot. The kind of humid night where the walls sweat and sleep refuses to come. Tanya had just showered, and for once she didn't tie her hair up. She let it fall, damp and clinging down her back. Her parents were out of town for a surgery, so only her younger cousin, her older brother, and one of his friends were home. Dinner was quiet. Everyone ate normally, except Tanya. She devoured her food like she hadn't eaten in days. Her eyes were glassy, unfocused. She asked for seconds, then thirds, then more. They joked about her having a bottomless stomach, but something in her expression made them uncomfortable. That night, no one in the house slept. At around midnight, strange noises began echoing through the rooms. Footsteps that didn't match anyone's pace. The screech of furniture being dragged. The loud slam of the refrigerator door opening and closing again and again. Tanya's cousin, terrified, tiptoed out to check. She saw Tanya standing in the kitchen, barefoot, her hair hanging wet down her back, swaying slightly even though there was no wind. She was whispering to herself, running her fingers along the tiles, occasionally laughing, softly, but in a way that made your skin crawl. The next morning, Tanya collapsed. Her body was burning with fever. Doctors called it heat stroke, gave her pills, told the family to keep her hydrated. But when the fever broke, things got worse. Tanya began eating massive amounts of food. She wouldn't stop unless someone physically took the plate away. She barely spoke, but at night she roamed the house like something was pulling her by invisible strings. She'd open and close doors, tap on the walls and patterns, and sometimes just stand at her window, staring into the dark where the crows used to perch. Her cousin said she was chanting in a language no one recognized. One night, her brother and his friend tried to restrain her when she began smashing glasses in the kitchen. It took both of them to hold her down. She fought with such unnatural strength that they ended up with scratches down their arms. Her eyes, they said, didn't look like hers anymore. It was then that my mother decided to visit, but what she saw changed her forever. Inside Tanya's room were 7 people, all of them desperately trying to keep Tanya on the bed. She was thrashing, convulsing, growling. Not screaming, growling, like something caged and furious. My mother only stayed for seconds before she ran out, trembling. That was the last time she dared to see Tanya alone. A priest was called, a well-known one. The moment he stepped into the room, he said the air felt wrong, thick and cold, like being underwater. He placed his hands on Tanya's shoulders and began to pray. That's when it spoke. A voice erupted from Tanya's mouth, deep, inhuman, like it came from beneath the floor. The priest didn't flinch. He asked, "How many are in there?" The voice answered, "7. She welcomed us. She laughed when we landed. She fed us. Now we feast." He asked, "Why her?" And the voice said, "She opened the door. She let her hair down. She gave without asking. She is ours now." That's when the priest understood. The crows weren't just birds. They were something else. Spirits, entities, parasites. And Tanya's kindness, her laughter, her long hair, her open window, all of it was an invitation. He fought them. For hours he chanted, sprinkled oil, burned herbs. Eventually the house began to feel lighter. Tanya stopped thrashing. The air warmed. Before she left, the priest gave Tanya a small object, a dark stone with markings carved deep into its surface. He tied it to a red thread and looped it around her wrist. "Never take this off," he warned. "Never, not even once." Years passed. In 2014, Tanya got married, and for a moment it seemed like the darkness had passed. But when she became pregnant that year, tragedy struck. A miscarriage in the 3rd month. It happened again in 2018, and again in 2022. Each time, the pregnancy ended the same way. No warning, no explanation. Eventually, she and her husband gave up and adopted a child. But even now, they don't sleep well. Their home is quiet, but not peaceful. Tanya still wears that stone. She never takes it off. And sometimes, in the dead of night, she hears them again. The fluttering of wings outside her window, and the feeling of 7 eyes watching from the dark.